motor, J motor, J motor, J motor, recognize Heckler house, Heckler house. Oh, 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 oh.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Thomas back again with another rendition of Truth Be Told. Now, this past coming week, there wasn't anything major going on in the news. They're still trying to get Iran to compromise and do a peace treaty. But I don't know what's going to happen there. I really don't care anymore. That regime, nothing against the Iranian people, but the regime, their government needs to go. Islam is evil. It is a death cult, and it needs to be eradicated. Those telling you that it's peaceful are full of shit. It literally tells you in their text that they should be killing you. So anyways, moving on. I've seen, where Asmongold got banned or whatever from Twitch, and then they released the ban. And then others are getting banned and then released. They're all them streamers for Twitch. They're always bitching and whining. 1 week they're getting banned, and the next week they're unbanned. Twitch is retarded. Whoever streams on Twitch, you're an idiot, because Twitch is one of the dumbest platforms. They're dumb. They treat their people like drama queens. It's ridiculous, the drama that comes from that Twitch streaming. Hassan Piker should have been banned and permanently banned from going on there all the time, but yet they don't do anything to that dumbass. He needs to be banned permanently from every platform. He's a communist and he believes in killing people. He's literally said this on his streams, and nothing is done to him. It's just crazy, the double standard. Anyways, I'm so sick and tired, because I watch Asmongold every now and then, but he should just get rid of Twitch and stay on YouTube or whatever. Just get rid of Twitch. It's dumb. Alright, moving on. So, as I've said before, even if you don't watch the channel regularly, and you've only seen a couple videos, or you don't watch it at all, it only takes 2 seconds to hit that subscribe button. It doesn't affect you or your channel whatsoever. It just helps this channel grow. So please subscribe. Also, I have another channel. It's called Easy Does It. The link is in the About section. Check it out if you like gaming vlogs and reviews and reactions to other YouTube channels. Okay. Again, subscribe. To what I really want to talk to you about. I told you I would get to this week about Project Hail Mary. I did watch it not too long ago. First of all, I do not care too much for Ryan Gosling. I just don't think he's a good actor. He's not my forte. But as a spoiler alert, I'm going to get into some spoilers here. So if you haven't seen the movie, you may not want to watch this first part of the video. The story is basically, you know, I don't know, it's kind of a spoof and not a spoof. I don't know how to explain it. Like, they need astronauts to go into space into a certain planet that doesn't have some weird space virus that every other planet they found in the solar system has this particular space virus. So, he's not an astronaut, he's just a teacher who wrote a paper and no one believed him. He's like some biochemist or some shit, I don't know, something to do with biological crap. Anyways, they give him a sample of this bug and he starts studying it, and he figures out some crap about how to get it to procreate and shit like that. And then all of a sudden they're gonna send 3 astronauts to this place, this planet, and they've chosen him to be on board to go with them. And he's like, I'm not an astronaut, why are you sending me? Well, they force him to go. Like, they knock him out with like some sleeping agent and put him on board. Well, the other 2 astronauts, the commander and the pilot, they both die. It's taking years to get to this place. On his way, he encounters an alien being, on an alien ship, and they become buddies. And then they figure out, that they learn how to communicate, and they figure out the alien's planet is dying from the same thing. So they figure out what's going on with this new planet. I'm not going to spoil that for you. And then they both go their separate ways. Well, something happens to where Ryan Gosling, his character, figures out there's a leak or something from these cured bugs or destroyed bugs or whatever that's seeping into the ship. And it nearly kills him, but he figures out before it kills him, because he went back into hibernation to go back home to Earth. Well, he goes to help his buddy out instead of going home with the last of the fuel. He doesn't have that much fuel left. He just has enough for a return trip home. He didn't even have that at first until his alien buddy gave him some fuel. But anyways, instead of going home, he goes to save his alien buddy. And then, at the end of the movie, it shows him on his alien buddy's world or whatever, blah, 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 teaching a class of alien students. And that's the end of the movie. It's an okay movie for what it was. I've seen a lot of YouTubers praising it, how great it was, and it's amazing. No, it's not. No, it's meh. It's okay. The only reason why they're praising it so hard is because there's not a bunch of woke crap, activist crap in it. The message, as everyone's calling it. It's not in there. They just told a good story, which is what they need to do. They need to go back to that Hollywood. Anyways, it's an okay movie. It wasn't bad, wasn't horrible, but it's worth a one-time watch. I give it a thumbs up and a thumbs down. check it out, especially if you like sci-fi. It's decent. Okay, let's get on to your B-movie reviews. Okay, movieaholics, moving on to your B-movie reviews. This week is Horror Week. Now we're finishing up the House series. The last time I did Horror Week, we watched the first two. Now we watched the third one and the fourth one. There's only 4. With the third one, the writer-director, it's also called The Horror Show. That's why a lot of people didn't know there was a third one. He really didn't want to associate it with the first 2 because they had a little bit of comedy in them. It was more horror comedy, and he wanted to take a more serious approach, but it literally had nothing to do with the house. It was completely different. It was about a serial killer, which the horror show was done in 1989. It only made about $2 million. It starred Lance Henriksen, which I didn't know was in this. Rita Taggart, his wife, who played his wife, and then Brian James, which I really like these 2 actors. Lance Henriksen, he wasn't quite an A-lister, but he was like an A-, because he did a shit ton of B movies, but he also starred in several A movies too, so he was like in between. He never quite made it as a big superstar, but he was still a star, quite a well-known actor. He's one of the ones I really liked from the 80s and 90s. And then Brian James, dude, very underrated actor, I think. He's been in so much shit, and it's mainly B-rated. I wouldn't call him an A-lister. I call him a B-plus lister. Because, if you wanted a decent low-budget film, you call Brian James, and you get that motherfucker in your movie, because he delivers always. He's really, really good actor for a B actor. He's really good. Anyways, but Brian James plays a serial killer that Lance Henriksen busted and put away. He plays a cop, and they're going at it back and forth through the whole movie. the whole cop after the bad guy kind of thing. A little cheesy on the killings. They weren't like super gross or scary or at all as you would think of a serial killer would do. They tried to do something, but it fell kind of flat. So it wasn't really scary at all. Now, the story goes that he puts Ryan James' character away and then watches him get electrocuted, which they did wrong. Yeah, they're supposed to wet the head or whatever, but they put a cap over their head, and for obvious reasons, but they didn't do that in this. And then in this one, in this movie, they have to shock him twice, and he gets up and then falls dead in front of Lance Henriksen, swearing he was coming to get him. Now, through the rest of the movie, he's kind of like a ghost, a spirit, and he torments him and his family until he finally gets to him, and some nutty professor tells him, you have to shock him again to get him to die as a ghost. Which he does. Some electrical unit at a plant or something. He shocks the shit out of him. Supposedly that's the end of it. And that's the end of the movie. It wasn't really, I mean, it was okay for what it was, but it really wasn't that good. Even though it had decent actors in it. The story was lame. That was the problem. It was a lame story. Seen it 100 times. It was because of the actors that were in it. I give it a thumbs up and a thumbs down. It was decent enough for a one-time watch. Alright, let's get on to the next one, which is House 4. Almost nobody knows that this one exists. House 4 was done in 1992 and went straight to video, so there's no box office numbers. And it starred William Katt and Terry Treyes. Now, even though it stars William Katt, he's only in the movie in a couple of scenes. He's not in it for very long. He has just a couple of 5-minute brief scenes. The movie mainly follows Terry's character, his supposed wife or widow. Now, they had a daughter, and sometime towards the beginning of the movie, there is an accident where she's driving a car and the tire pops and she rolls the car and gets the kid out, but William's stuck in the car. He's reprising his role as Roger, but it's like a different character. He's not a writer in this. It doesn't explain anything about his job or whatever. He just inherits this old house out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Run-down house that's getting old, and supposedly it's been passed through his family for generations, and he swore to his father he'd never sell it. There's this old Indian guy. He claims the Indians that used to be on the land, they had a healing spring underneath the house, and to keep it hidden, they put a seal over the healing spring and then put the house on top, which was given to William Katt's character Roger, to his great-great-grandfather or some crap like that. He got married to one of the Indian women, and that's why it's been in his generation for years and years. Anyways, Um, William Cat dies in the car wreck. It blows up. His character Roger. And then he has a stepbrother who keeps coming by trying to get uh, the widow to sell the land or the house to him because he works for a big chemical company who wants to demolish the house and do a whole bunch of renovating to the land, and she won't sell, which is pissing him off. So he keeps sending thugs over there. He's got like a couple of thugs. He keeps sending these thugs over there to mess with her. Well, and the little girl, the daughter, she's supposedly paralyzed now because of the accident. So she's in a wheelchair. Now, why would they put her in this fucking old ass, fucking decrepit 1930s, 40s wheelchair, wooden wheelchair, when they have modern wheelchair? It made no sense. But anyways, I digress. Moving on. Eventually, she figures it out what he's doing. They end up starting a fire in one case. They go in there. Well, they don't start the fire, but there's a fire that ends up starting because they were in there pouring gas in the basement. Burns the place down. There's this housekeeper that shows up trying to help her out. And later on, you find out she's FBI, supposedly. She's kind of a bitch, this housekeeper chick. Little thing, but she's kind of a bitch. But anyways, all the bad guys get busted. Come to figure out, all the strange happenings in the house that are happening to the widow, because there's several things. It's all because of William Cat's ghost. The Indian tells her he was murdered, and his spirit can't rest. She figures out that it was the two thugs for the stepbrother who shot the tire the night that she rolled the car, which ended up killing William Cat's character. Now, William Cat helps her as a ghost towards the end of the movie with her daughter, and then the healing springs bust open and stops the fire, and even though most of the house is burnt up by now, and the water gets on the daughter, and the daughter can miraculously walk again, and like I said, all the bad guys go to jail except for the chemical guy. He wasn't taking the rap, and then the rest of them live happily ever after. And that's the end of the movie. It was okay. Definitely cheesy, definitely B-rated. It's just basically another ghost story is what it is. Like I said, they changed the premises a little bit. It really had nothing to do with the house. It was mainly due to William Cat's character being a ghost. So even though it was, a ghost story, it was all right. But again, they veered off from the first two movies again. And this one wasn't even funny. It just wasn't funny. And it takes at least halfway through the movie before any ghost crap starts happening. I think the first ghost scene was the pizza delivery guy. And that's literally halfway through the movie. So you got to watch an hour of this boring, grieving widow complain that William's dead for like the first hour of the movie. you can get through that, you might be okay. I didn't care for it. I give it 2 thumbs down. I didn't like this one. I wish they would have gone back to the original premises of the first 2 movies, but they didn't. They told a completely different ghost story. So anyways, that's all I have for you this week. If you can think of anything, any thoughts that you have on the first part of this video, if you have any thoughts, please leave them down in the comment section down below. Actually, if any haven't seen Project Mary, wouldn't mind hearing your thoughts on it. If you could think of any underrated, B-rated movies, stuff you may think I've never even heard of, that's my jam. Please leave your suggestions down in the comment section down below. I'll get to reviewing them as soon as I can. So until next time, I told you you'd be told the truth, and you've just been told.